trunk or treat. So we'll get all the mayors coming up to talk about that. So you learn how you can satisfy your sweet tooth this weekend. Right now, though, let's head into the KUAM News Link Zoom room where we have Tasi Ada standing by of the KUAM Podcast Network's Talks with Toss. Good morning, Tasi.
Good morning.
Let's go ahead and get right into it. I wanted to kind of start with a couple of things you got going on down at Custom Fitness. Uh, I know Jason was really interested in this glute camp, but has it filled up already?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Can you repeat it, Chris?
The glute camp. I know that Jason was pretty excited about the glute camp, but are there still slots available for that?
Oh, man. So let me tell you, the response has been really overwhelmingly positive. I think initially the team here at Custom Fitness had thought, oh, maybe, we'll shoot for anywhere between 10 to 15 participants. And I think within the first hour or two, we had more than 20. We're definitely well past 30. So we opened up another session for those days that we have the glute camp. And we're currently working on getting a total of 30 participants with the idea of those who were interested and maybe didn't make that cut per se, having some benefits for the next round of glute camp. So it's been really great so far. And I'm just trying to keep my cool because I hadn't anticipated this type of response. So really good things.
Right on. And then I know you've also got this, well, gosh, something to do with pregnant women and working out, right? I mean, that's quite the understatement, but we got the video here. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that was actually the initial plan, to start with programming for pregnant women or postpartum women. And we wanted to use Glute Camp as almost as a pilot, meaning getting my feet wet with programming for multiple individuals. And since that's been the response that it's been, it seems quite the opposite. But we wanted to get a lot of feedback from the glute program and use that for the programming for the pregnancy program. But for that one, we want it to be sort of a hybrid program, meaning those women who maybe they've never exercised consistently in the past and they don't really know how to navigate that while pregnant, that they can receive some of the services either in person, group instruction, or online, or perhaps all three. Any way to get moms moving more and to get past that old adage of, oh, now that you're pregnant, you need to rest. And for some it's appropriate, but for most, it's the perfect time to have some lifestyle changes. So things like not drinking anymore, not smoking anymore. And so let's tack on increasing our physical activity for the health of the mom and for the health of the baby.
Right on, yeah, because sitting around for a few months eating pickles and ice cream that takes quite a toll on you, Toss. So let's talk about the benefits because I notice a lot of women, pregnant women on Guam. There's the preeclampsia, there's the gestational diabetes. It's really easy to go from just being pregnant, and it's kind of a sedentary lifestyle, right, for a lot of women who get pregnant. How do you, or how crucial is this program going to be in helping pregnant women kind of avoid those issues?
Oh, I mean, in general, regardless of whether you're pregnant or not, there are consistent benefits with exercise and the reduction of high blood pressure, the prevention or reduction of excessive weight gain, or any type of diabetes. So these things definitely apply to moms. They're not an exception to that population. And really, in general, most people aren't meeting the physical activity guidelines. And so for moms, when they are getting ready to deliver, that's a huge event. That's a traumatic event, and they need to be prepared. Their bodies need to be prepared for that type of activity. And if you think about moms who are typically gaining upwards of 30 plus pounds, and they're having to go about their activities, low intensity, long duration types of exercises may not exactly cut it for things that are intense, like labor, that require short bursts of effort, and having even the mobility to get in those positions that optimize delivery. So this is kind of where the benefits are twofold when it comes to exercising throughout the pregnancy.
Talks with Toss podcast. I don't know how you got this interview for this next episode, Toss, but pretty good get. You want to give us some details on that?
Oh yeah, so I believe it was in 2015. I had the opportunity to represent Oceania under Women in Sports for the International Olympic Academy, and that was when I had been introduced to Scott. And prior to that, I didn't know his background as an athlete, as an Olympian, and it was then that he had a presentation about his life story leading up to the two Winter Olympics he participated in for men's ski cross. And I already had it in my mind that when I decided to do this podcast, he was on high up on the list of the people that I wanted to reach out to and share his story with, because I think it's important for people to be exposed to not only sports they may have never thought of being interested in or just doesn't seem very likely on Guam, but also to hear the story of his resiliency throughout that process with the loss of his father, as well as having to rearrange his entire life and then tack on the injuries he experienced before both Olympics. I think it's an important story for people to hear and to be inspired by.
All right, and we're going to play a little sneak peek of the new episode of Talks with Toss, which you can find, of course, on the KUAM podcast network.
This event it's where I'd won my first World Cup there, and so it's a venue that I enjoyed racing at and I was confident at. But in the qualification round, I think of the first day, I had a really, really bad crash, and I wound up being airlifted to the hospital, where I woke up with four. They're called, your spine's made up of obviously you've got your spinal cord and your vertebrae that surrounds that, and then you've got these transverse processes, which is like the wings. And I'd broken four of my transverse processes on my left side. I had a pneumothorax, which is like an air pocket on my lung. And I just remember lying in that hospital bed, just like, not only had I'd lost my dad early in the year, I'd made every effort to get back to those Olympics, and then to have just had that Olympic dream ripped from me again. That was without a doubt my low point, just trying to rationalize all of it and try and understand what was to be. And it's probably the first time that I think losing my father really like sunk in, and I just had time to process that. So it was a really, really dark and challenging time. And it's funny how your mind works. And I think in that time it wasn't in the first few days. It's probably a week later that I probably appreciated that this was as bad as it gets. And it was only up from here. So I quickly turned my attention to how do I, is it possible to get back to the Olympics? Is it possible to get back to the Olympics?
There you go. That's a sneak peek of the new episode of Talks with Toss, which is available, Jason.
Yeah, make sure to check it out on the K1 Podcast Network. Just basically go on any of your favorite podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon, Audible. We're all over the place, so you can actually subscribe to receive this episode of Tasi's podcast, plus all the other really, really cool things she's got going on. I think, Tas, we were talking during your clip, Sabrina wants to sign up for the advanced glute class.
Advanced. She wants like Glute Camp black belt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's like booty plus plus.
Yeah, plus. So, Tas, what's the info on the Glute Camp? Because I know you said you're opening up a second session, and we are getting some messages here. So how do they get a hold of you guys to sign up?
Yeah, so they can either message us on the CFG Physical Therapy IG profile. They can also call the office here at 989-0436. So don't forget the 671 now. Other than that, they can directly message me as well at Tasi on IG. And from there, we can send them the sign up details. But the classes are going to start November 9th, and it'll run through up until December 18th. It'll be Tuesdays and Saturdays, and we're hosting 2 back-to-back sessions. And I believe on Tuesday, it's 5:30 p.m. and then 6:30 p.m. On Saturdays, it'll be 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. And from there, once they've made payment, they've signed up, the faster you do that, the higher the priority list you are on choosing the session times that best work for your schedule.
Right on. Well, there you go,
All right.
Bree. We're that close. We are getting booty for Christmas.
Yeah.
Right on. Thanks, Toss.
Well, we normally try and keep like our guests separate, but while Tasi's clip was playing, and she was like, "Hey, Pete." So apparently, she and Dr. Lombard are our next guest. Let me bring them up. Well, of course, they're colleagues. They both work in healthcare. Of course, like Peter Lombard, a phenomenal athlete in his own right, former Olympian. Tasi, you guys kind of like your Venn diagram's kind of like a crossover. You guys are both concerned with making sure people are healthy, taking care of people and everything like that. So, congrats to both of you for doing what you guys do for our island.
Well, so before all of this, me and Peter, Dr. Lombard, we were both working together for the Athletes Commission under the Olympic Committee. And so we worked alongside one another for quite a while before I made the leap to going into physical therapy school. So good times.
Very good.
Right on. Okay, Doc.
And I'm sure the doc would also agree, Dr. Lombard, that is, that, like all the biking he does, probably pretty good for the glutes as well.
He need that big dogging seat.
There you go.
Right
There's
on.
another option. Just buy a bike. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Thank you, Tasi.
Thanks, Tasi.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
That's that. Right on. Hey, it's Friday, guys. 7:25. Quick break. We're coming back with, yeah, you guessed it, Dr.